With 14 races done, we are finally in the summer break, where lots of announcements is going to happen and where we have 4 to 5 weeks of nothing but F1 to talk about but not to watch. And that's why I'm here, because we have 14 races to rank the drivers from first and to worst. And I only think there's one driver that deserves to be canned for the rest of the season. So let's talk about it when I give you my top 20 drivers. But first, let's talk about the one honorable mention in this list, who is going to be Ollie Behrman, because I think you need to race three or more, or a minimum of three races to be ranked in this kind of list, because one performance is a little bit unfair. Because if he had only been in that one and I ranked him, he probably would have been, let's see, third, because he had a very good one race. So next year we'll see where he stacks up against his teammate Ocon. But in any case, let's go and talk about the 20 drivers and rank them from 20th to 1st. And it's going to be interesting, so please don't kill me. And this is only my opinion, and you know what? It's just how I do my things. 20th in last place is going to be Logan Sargent. Now, Logan Sargent did have a better season than he had last year. But last year was a rookie, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Now I think Williams should probably replace him mid-season with probably Antonelli, the best driver to replace him with. Give him that half year to get used to F1 and then put him in the Mercedes. Sargent, I don't think he's going to go a place higher or lower, except if the person just in front of me, which is very close between 20th and 19th, has a worst year. Maybe Sargent won't be last, but at the moment I know why Williams are giving him the boot at the end of the season, because he is the worst driver on the 2024 F1 grid. P19 is going to be Checo Perez. Now, I think he should finish the year with Red Bull, probably because I want McLaren to win the Constructors' Championship. It would be so freaking funny. In any case, yeah, he's staying for the rest of the season. If he doesn't up his game, I don't think he's going to have a seat for next year. Ricciardo and Tsunoda are both doing better than him, which you can see because they are ahead of him. Lawson, I think, would also do a better job in that car. He had a very good start of the season, but it just went downwards the last 8 or 9 races. So not fun for Checo, and I don't think he would have a seat in F1 if he stays like this. 18th is going to be Zhou Guanyu. In the start of the season, I actually thought he was in my bottom 5, but like 4th or 5th lowest, but he's close to being the second or last driver, because the last 5 or 6 races, Bottas has demolished this guy in qualifying, but almost a second to half a second quicker than him in an average. That is very bad for Zhou. And in the races, he hasn't done much. His teammate just has such better pace than he has. And I don't think he's going to stay in F1. I don't think Sauber wants to keep him. I don't know if I wanted to keep him if I was at Sauber. Audi doesn't want him. So I don't think he's going to have a seat for next year. And I understand why. Because he sucks at this moment. And I like Zhou Guanyu very much. He's a very good driver. But he's not that good actually. So he's going to be P18. I can't remember where it was in my first 5 races ranking, but this is not very good. I think he did better last season, so that's a weird downgrade. But he has a very poo-poo car, so that's probably why he's struggling to see more of his potential. P17 is surprising. It's Lance Stroll. He was, I think, second or third lowest on my first 5 races ranking, and he actually had a very good last 5 or 4 races, outperforming Alonso in most of them, and that's very interesting because Alonso is a top tier driver. So at the moment, I think he merits that seat. Do I think he deserves it more than someone else? No, but I think he merits that seat for the next season. If he doesn't do better next season, I think they should really give him the boots. But he had a very good few last races, in my opinion, and I'm really shocked at that because I don't like the guy at all. So yeah. B16 is going to be Daniel Ricciardo. Hasn't been as good as I've hoped he would have been. He merits that seat for the rest of the season. Do I think he deserves it more than Lawson? No. More than Isaac Hadjar? No. Do I think he deserves that Red Bull seat above Yuki? No. He merits that seat for the rest of the season. If he can't get high on this list, I'm sorry, but I don't think he deserves that Red Bull seat or probably that seat next year because his time is running out and he's been performing, but not as good as people probably think he would have. And Yuki's been, I think, better than him consistently. So that's why he's only P16. P15 is a surprising one. It's Esteban Ocon. Although he's beating his teammates in the qualifying head-to-head, not in the head-to-head races, he's been making a few mistakes like that one in Monaco is probably the biggest one. It's probably the biggest reason he's below his teammates. Been fighting too much, being aggressive too much. His move to Haas is probably a good one for him. Haas is a good team for that. I just don't hope he crashes into Ollie Behrman because that's the fastest I give him a 0 or last place because he does not need to be as aggressive with his rookie teammates. But I really hope Behrman kicks his ass next year at Haas. I like the guy, but I like Behrman more. And I don't like that he's been so feisty with Gasly, my favorite driver at the moment. So that's why he's P15, not because I don't like him, because he had a very good last race, and his beginning of the season was very good. But I think Gasly had better highs, in my opinion, and Ocon had a little bit more lows, if I can put it like that. I hope that makes sense. But that's why Ocon is only P15. P14 is going to be Valtteri Bottas. It's really hard to see where this guy is in the car that he has. He has this lowest car throughout the whole year, but he's been doing a very good job. Like I said when I talked about Zhou, Bottas has been destroying him in qualifying. More than a second or more than half a second most times. That means you're very good at qualifying. And we know Bottas is good in qualifying, especially when he was at Mercedes. When he was at Mercedes. He wasn't out in Q1 or 2 for almost 5 or 4 seasons in a row. That was crazy. He did a better job than Hamilton, I think, with that stat, if I'm not mistaken. Help me in the comments if I'm wrong. But that's very good. And I think in the races, he can't show much because the car is really shite. But otherwise, Bottas has been very good. And I really hope he gets a seat. But do I think he will get a seat? No. But I would like to see him get a seat. Probably go to Alpine, but I would like to see Jack Doohan or Liam Lawson in that seat if they don't give him that opportunity. So yeah, sorry. B13 is going to be Kevin Magnussen. I know Kevin Magnussen's whole year hasn't been good for all the track limit stuff and the fencing and penalties, but he has been driving very, very good. I think he's been driving better than last year when Nico Hulkenberg kicked his ass. Sorry, swearing a lot, I don't know why. Magnussen, he had a better season. He had good fights, he had good comebacks, more points than last year. Hulkenberg has definitely been much better in qualifying and the races, but Magnussen has been good. I really hope he gets a seat. I would like him to get the Williams seat instead of Sainz, if Sainz didn't get it. But I don't think he would go to Alpine or Sauber. If he went to Sauber, that would be very funny with Hulkenberg, Magnussen again. So that would be so cool. But I don't think he is going to get a seat. And I think his time's up in F1, which is sad because I like the guy. And he's been driving at a good enough rate, in my opinion. But sometimes stuff like this happens. B12 is going to be the driver I talked about earlier. My favorite driver at the moment, Pierre Gasly. He had a very rocky start, and I will admit that his last race as well wasn't the best, but he had lots of good races. The gap between like 15 and 12 is like super close. His qualifying, he had some cool stuff that he did throughout the year. He scored some major points and that's why he's only P12. I couldn't give him that much of a boost because he had a very rocky start. His qualifying has been as good as what it usually was, and he's just been estimated by a little bit. P11 is Fernando Alonso. He has fallen. He was in my top 5 in the start of the year. I think he was 5th or 4th when I did my first 5 races, top 5. He has fallen. He struggled. I don't know if he's struggling with the car or if the passion isn't there anymore, or if Aston Martin is starting to do what it did with Sebastian Vettel, where Lance Stroll just surprisingly got the better of him. I really don't hope it's that. And I really don't hope he's losing his flame because I can see him in 2 more years in F1. So if he can just push on, he can maybe get into the top 10 at the end of the year. Our first driver in the top 10 or the point scorers is going to be Lewis Hamilton. And wait, don't yell at me, Lewis Hamilton fans. Just remember he had a very rocky start. He had a abysmal. People were thinking like, oh no, Ferrari's going to regret signing him and Sainz is doing so much better. The last few races he has been amazing, but it's only been the last few races and this is an average kind of ranking where I go through the average of each race we have gone through. So let's say in the next 2 races he does amazing, he can easily jump up to P7, maybe. But we'll see how far he can jump when the season end comes, because I think Lewis Hamilton is starting to reinvigorate himself, and I'm really looking forward for his move to Ferrari next season. Him next to Leclerc will be freaking interesting, and I'm very happy to see he's got his mojo back. P9 is going to be Alexander Albon. He had a very quiet season so far this year, and it's weird. Last year he was doing this amazing stuff. I think he had a better car last year. This time he's just outperforming his teammates. And next season against Sainz would be the biggest benchmark we can ever put against Albon. We'll see if Logan is just bad or Alex Albon is the next Ayrton Senna. But I think Sainz and Albon and that team is a very good combination. So yeah, very decent season from Albon. Just very quiet. Yeah, just quiet. P8, probably one of the biggest shocks is Yuki Tsunoda. I did not expect Yuki Tsunoda to be here at P8 in the start of the year. I really thought he was going to be last place or second to last or something. Well, not in the standings, not in this ranking, because he just he destroyed all of the Red Bull members except for Verstappen, because he has been doing so good. And I don't even know why Red Bull aren't looking into signing him at Red Bull. It's so stupid. Hopefully he gets a seat at Aston Martin when Honda goes there. Him next to Stroll would be cool. Him next to Fernando Alonso would be amazing. Yuki deserves better. And if he gets that Alpine seat, I would be happy. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he deserved the seat. Liam Lawson next to him would probably be the benchmark we've been looking for. But he's been outperforming his teammate, and that's all he could have done so far. And he has had a few clangers, but he has had more bangers. Sorry. P7, once again, don't kill me, is going to be Oscar Piastri. 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd. It's very, very close. Like, very close. Oscar had a bumpy start of the season. Not like bad bumpy, just like inconsistency. The last 3 or 4 races, he's been amazing. And he was just outside my top 5 worst drivers after the 5 races. So to go from 6 to 50, from 15th to 7 is amazing. So that just tells you how much of a season he's had, because that's amazing. He's in 7th place now. If he goes on like this, he may get 2nd or 1st. Depends on how the rest of the drivers go, because Oscar Piastri has been phenomenal, and I think Norris should watch out, and McLaren is going to have a hard time deciding who's going to fight for championship next year, if they are capable of fighting for the championship. P6 is the man that's going to Williams, Carlos Sainz. He had probably one of the best starts this season. I think he was second on my first 5 races ranking video, going to Australia after losing his appendix, winning that race, not being off the podium in the first 5 or 6 races was amazing. He was like a man possessed. And it's sad that he's going to Williams of all places. He could go to Red Bull. I don't know why Red Bull doesn't want him. Red Bull is weird, man. But Sainz has had a very good season so far. Next year at Williams, it's going to be sad to see him at a little bit more at the back. But 2026, maybe Williams are good. Maybe he has a car to compete for the podium. We'll see. Sadly, things like that happen in F1. Number 5 is going to be Nico Hulkenberg. I did not expect this to happen at all in the beginning of the year. He was also on my top 5. He was always on my top 5 from the first 5 races, but he had some amazing drives. Austria and Silverstone was amazing. His qualifying throughout the year was very good. So that's why he deserves a P5 finish. The other drivers ahead of him, I still think had better races and here so far. But Nico Hulkenberg, he deserves a top tier seat. He's going to Sauber next year, the slowest car. Hopefully Audi can give him something. I think he deserves a podium. He deserves a win. He deserves a championship at this moment. Well, if he can get a top tier team. Yeah. If you want to see him in a top tier team, go watch my What If series, and there he drives for Red Bull alongside a 7-time world champion. So if that piques your interest, go watch that video. My second part is coming out in the next few weeks, maybe next week, maybe this week, depends on how busy I am. In any case, he is P5. P4 is going to be George Russell. Now you might think, why is he here? George Russell has been outperforming his teammate, like I said, when I talked about Hamilton in this beginning of the season. He had some bad luck. DNFing in Silverstone, he could have won that race. I think Hamilton would have, but he could have. And in Belgium, he lost the win because Mercedes made a mistake. And that was probably his best win before I took it away. But he had so much potential this year. The car has been getting better, so has he. I think Hamilton has been better the last few races, but Russell has been amazing as well. I think Russell has been more consistent this year, and that's why he is P4. Okay, top 3 time, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Our bronze medalist or Olympic style, let's go for, is going to be Charles Leclerc. I'm very surprised he's 3rd. He had a very up-down season. The last 2 or 3 races were good, the last 2 maybe, but the races before that was very weak from him and Ferrari. He finally won at Monaco, which is amazing. This year has been amazing. And what can I say? He's just been good. I think he's been consistent. He was one of the drivers that had the best start of the season with his teammate Sainz. That's why Ferrari was still ahead of McLaren for such a long time, because they both were just so consistent. But Leclerc has just been up there the whole time. That's why he is 3rd. Our runner-up is going to be the runner-up man this year. It's going to be Lando Norris. He has to watch out because Piastri is coming for him, and he needs to get that car and his head settled. Because if he wants to fight for Verstappen, he needs to start focusing, because the last race was not good from him. The rest of the season, though, was amazing. Getting his first win finally, and then almost winning 4 other races this year if it wasn't for his and more of McLaren's fault. We could maybe look at the title fight now. We'll see how the last 10 races go, but at the moment Norris is 2nd. Very close to Verstappen, actually. He's closer to Verstappen than he is to Leclerc, and that says something. He has been very good this season. But first is, of course, going to be Max Verstappen. This guy is still leading the championship after not winning a race in 4 races or 3. I think it's 3 or 4. That's crazy. And he has been on the podium for 2 races. He's still in the lead with like 70 points. So that just shows you how good he was in the beginning and still is. It's not the car, man. It's not the car. And that was my ranking of the 20 drivers. Who do you think should I change? And do you think Sargent should be kicked out for the rest of the season? I really think he should. And do you think Perez should have stayed or not? Antonelli, I think, would have been a good replacement for Williams. I don't think they could get Sainz to go to them so early. It would be very interesting. Then Hamilton could go to Ferrari. Antonelli can go to Mercedes. Yeah, no, that would be interesting. But I don't think that's going to happen. So if you like this kind of video, please give it a like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And yeah, enjoy your summer break.